Video 3 of coordinate geometry in the XY plane, finding the perpendicular to a line. In this lecture we're going to find out the gradient of a line which is perpendicular to another. Perpendicular, as I'm sure you remember from GCSE, means intersect at a right angle. So these two lines are perpendicular to each other, and you can see that where they cross over it's a right angle, or 90 degrees. This is the fact you need to make sure that you remember, that if a line has a gradient of m, then the gradient of the perpendicular line is minus 1 over m. It's minus the reciprocal. And two perpendicular lines have gradients that multiply to give minus 1. Those two facts need to be remembered. That if you've got a gradient of m, the perpendicular line is minus 1 over m, and two perpendicular lines have the gradients, if you times them together you get minus 1. Here's some examples. Work out the gradient of a line that is perpendicular to the lines with the following gradients. So if you've got a line with gradient 3, the line that is perpendicular to it has minus a third. It's just minus 1 over. So if you've got a line with gradient a half, then the perpendicular line has gradient minus, well, 1 over a half, or the reciprocal. I prefer to say is minus the reciprocal, because the reciprocal of a half is 2 over 1, so it's minus 2. So the line gradient minus 2/5 minus the reciprocal. The reciprocal of minus 2/5 is minus 5 over 2, and it's minus that, so minus 5 over 2, or just 5 over 2, minus the reciprocal. Turn it upside down, change the sign if you want it in more simple terms. So 2x, the reciprocal is 1 over 2x, and change the sign, minus 1 over 2x. That's the gradient of the perpendicular line. So minus the reciprocal, or upside down with a different sign. Is the line y equals 3x plus 4 perpendicular to the line x plus 3y minus 3 is equal to 0? Well, if they were perpendicular, then the product of their gradients would be minus 1. So if we knew what the two gradients were, we could then tell very, very simply whether they are perpendicular or not. Y equals 3x plus 4, that's an easy one. It's in the mx plus c form, so we can say the gradient is 3. X plus 3y minus 3 is equal to 0. We need to rearrange this one. So 3y is 3 minus x. Y is 1 minus x over 3, so the gradient is minus a third. And then if you are answering this question in an exam, you want to make it abundantly clear that you know the rule. So the lines are perpendicular since their gradients multiply to give minus 1, and write down 3 times minus a third equals minus 1. Make it obvious to the examiner that you know what you are doing. Find an equation for the line that passes through 3 minus 1 and is perpendicular to the line y equals 2x minus 4. Well, in this case we probably first need to think about the gradients again. We've got y equals 2x minus 4, so the gradient's 2 of that line, but we want the line that is perpendicular to it. So minus the reciprocal, the gradient of the perpendicular line is minus a half. Now we can use the stuff we looked at in the last lecture, or video 2 if you want to look it back up. To find the equation of a straight line, we've got x1, y1, the point we go through, which is 3 minus 1. We now know the gradient is minus a half, and we have remembered this rule, y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, that we can use to find the equation of the line. Substitute in the values. Y minus minus 1 is minus a half, x minus 3. Expand the brackets and then rearrange it to get y equals minus a half x plus a half, or you can rearrange it into the other form if you like.